Hey cartoon fans, on November 1st, 1969, CBS would air what many would say is the best episode of Season 1 of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Foul Play in Funland. But does it really stand up to all the hype? That's what I'll find out in our series where I look back at every episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? And today, of course, we got episode 8, Foul Play in Funland, which I think is the start of the best of Scooby-Doo, as I rank this one very high up when I did a huge ranking video on Scooby-Doo Where Are You that just hit 100k, which is insane. Sure, it's not my personal favorite, but it's genuinely a great episode of Scooby-Doo, which I watched a lot of more than other episodes because I had the Scooby-Doo and the Robots DVD, which included Foul Play in Funland, so I'm very familiar with this one. And it's also the first episode of the franchise as a whole that our villain wasn't human, but there was a human behind it. So does it count? I don't know. And something else cool is that the sound that our villain makes is the same as the robot music in the Jetsons.
The Jetsons, brought to you by Scotch Brand Magic Tape.
On top of that, we have some physical media featuring new art based off of the episode, which is really fun to see. And I'll try to talk about that with our later episodes that occasionally have a new look at our characters. And there were even fast food toys featuring Charlie the Robot 2 on top of the many other appearances in later Scooby shows. Anyways, let's see why Foul Play in Funland holds up and why it's so popular with Scooby fans. Here we go. Our episode begins with the gang out on some island with a beach and a closed amusement park as they are clam hunting, with Scooby not being so fond of clams. Fred tells the gang that they should pack up and leave, but just then something happens at the amusement park. It's up and running all of a sudden at night. So the gang, who are now curious, investigate Funland as we see a strange looking thing ride the roller coaster as the gang show up. In search around, the boys get food. Fred wins a prize at the game stand that somehow rang him up 2 bits, even though no one is there, which I think adds to the spookiness.
The cash register rang up 25 cents.
I'm beginning to wonder if this place is haunted.
Sure, it's a fun park, but no one is there. And the art in this episode is some of the best, with our somewhat rundown amusement park, which adds to the eerie nature of it all. Shaggy and Scooby are about to get some cotton candy when they see a figure run through the park at lightning speed. And while we see that it's a robot, Shaggy and the rest of the gang don't know that until later. So if you were in their shoes seeing that tall, unusual thing running around in the dark, you would be scared too.
Oh, I see him!
Anyway, Shaggy and Scooby think it's a ghost because Scooby couldn't get a scent. Just then, they see and follow it into the Hall of Mirrors. I don't know why the scaredy cats want to follow this guy, and when they get frightened by this blue robot and run away into some trash cans, we see him go somewhere else while the boys find the gang, who also see the robot go on the Ferris wheel. But when Fred tries to get him down, he disappears. Just then, the whole amusement park shuts down.
This is the first time I ever wanted to leave Funland.
When the gang regroup back on the beach, Shaggy tells them that he thinks this guy was from Mars, or even Superman. Anyways, the gang head over to a spooky house on the island which belongs to the caretaker. And after seeing the house and what the heck's going on, I think every house in Scooby-Doo Where Are You looks haunted. The gang meet the caretaker, Mr. Jenkins. Yes, the common name that people throw out for Scooby-Doo villains is actually a caretaker of an amusement park, and his sister that lives with him on the island for some reason. And we don't know for sure, but I think this island is only traveled by boat. there's no bridge connecting to it, which is kind of insane. Mr. Jenkins tells the gang that there's no way his park was on and that they think that the gang are imagining it. And after Fred tells him of the strange man running around, they say that there's no one else on the island, which really freaks the gang out. And after leaving, the gang know what they saw and they don't want to leave this mystery, but the boys sure do.
Mystery or pizza pie? Preacher right.
And so the gang go back to the beach to see if the park starts up again, and well, it does. So the gang go back in, but things are different as everything is going haywire, like really haywire. And the gang see the strange guy again, and we get an eerie shot of the blue guy just juggling in the middle of the park when the gang chase him into the tunnel of love, and well, this scene is crazy.
There's something in that tunnel. It's him.
Okay, so how can this robot swim in the water? The gang split up and Shaggy and Scooby have fun around the park, or try to, when our robot breaks the game, which shows off the very intimidating strength and almost invincible nature of this robot of unknown origin. But not to mention the speed on this guy. The boys run away and on a roller coaster, but he's right after them on this scary pursuit. But luckily, after help from the gang, they save the boys just when we see the strange man jump from the top of the coaster. And if the gang thought he was human, this definitely changes things. But for some reason, all of this happening just gives Fred the idea to use a electric go-kart to chase the guy. But all that does is get a blind Velma and Scooby to almost die in a stupid chase with the robot. This scene always made me so worried as a kid. I don't know why, but after all that, we get the classic end to all Scooby intros with the cotton candy. Anyways, Fred builds a super strong trap to capture this thing, and well, who would have guessed it didn't work? In fact, this guy broke straight through multiple rows of wall and even brick.
Like you won't believe it. He went through the back of the trap, then through a wooden crate, and out the back through a brick wall.
But before the capture, we get a really cool and intense little chase in the Wax Museum in Funland with Scooby, and I think it's great. Anyways, the gang know for sure this guy is not human, and just then Mr. Jenkins shows up explaining everything on how he built the perfect robot to operate Funland. But something went wrong, so with the gang's help, Mr. Jenkins using a giant magnet that breaks when they find him, and Charlie the robot crashes and breaks down. After realizing the cable was cut, we discover the real villain with Scooby's help, Jenkins' sister, who wanted to get rid of the robot because the park should have real people interacting and working around, which is not wrong, but it's still your brother's invention. Couldn't you have just talked about it? And none of that explains the park turning on and off and all of it going haywire, as well as other strange things. And so our episode ends with Jenkins making Charlie the second as a chill robot friend to help out, but not be in control, much like the robots being made today. And our new Charlie Pet Scooby ending this wild time. Foul Play in Funland is a fan favorite, but why is it so good? I personally think it's because of the scene. The gang are literally on an island with a rundown amusement park at night, with Charlie the robot on the loose, and besides the amazing art and scenery of the park, we have the robot, a super unusual monster, because he isn't a monster. He's just a robot that's glitching out and is completely unpredictable, becoming a dangerous version of what he was created for. And not knowing anything about this guy does make him a threat for the gang, as it's super dark out and he moves around super fast with a blank face, much like Michael Myers. Charlie's design is iconic just for how different he is. But yeah, he's not scary, but he's definitely menacing. And the episode has a great forward-thinking message about the dangers of automation, technology, and our modern day AI are good for a tool, but can easily become a horrible thing in the wrong hands, and how kids should have real-world interactions instead of, in our case, Charlie the Robot. Yeah, even Scooby-Doo can teach you some lessons. Once again, Foul Play in Funland took the gang in a different direction, even though our last episode, What the Heck's Going On, had a perfect, somewhat grounded look at how the gang solved mysteries. With all that said, I'm gonna give Foul Play at Funland 4 Charlies out of 5. So what do you think of Foul Play at Funland? Is it your favorite episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You? Or like me, do you think it's good, but maybe a little overrated? And thanks for watching today's video, as it's gonna be the last one for a while with our Scooby-Doo Where Are You review series, because the episode after this, the Backstage Rage, is my personal favorite episode of Scooby-Doo Where Are You, so I want to do a very special video for it in the fall. So it's gonna be a while, but we will have plenty of videos on the channel throughout the summer that you guys will be super excited for as we dive into Batman, the new Scooby-Doo movies, and more. Anyways, consider subscribing to join this cartoon community, and that's all. See ya!